What's up, YouTube? I'm Lanky Dragoon, and today I'm going to give 10 predictions about this week's PlayStation State of Play. But first, it would really help me out if you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below on what you want to see from the State of Play. I'm also going to be live reacting to this State of Play on the 12th on both YouTube and Twitch. Come hang out and see what I get right and wrong. It's that time of year again when everyone's excitement skyrockets for those big game announcements. Xbox led the charge for 2025 with their Developer Direct Showcase, and honestly, it delivered on exciting gameplay and a couple of surprise announcements. Now it's PlayStation's turn to hopefully bring the heat with their announcements, despite several PS5 games being cancelled during development. I'd like to take a moment to say, Concord, thank you for your service for killing off most of PlayStation's live service strategy. Which leads to the question PlayStation gamers are left thinking, what games could we see tomorrow? The first two games are leading off my easiest predictions because they were both evidence for a PlayStation State of Play coming soon. I'll get these out of the way so we can move into the actual predictions. First up is Metal Gear Delta Snake Eater. This prediction is the easiest to make for this State of Play, and that's because PlayStation all but confirmed it themselves by leaking a new trailer for the game and its release date on PSN last week. I wish this could have been a more exciting prediction, but it is what it is. Next, we have Death Stranding 2. While there haven't been any further details for this game leaked by PlayStation, I think there's a strong chance that 2 Ritas 2 Fetus will show up at this presentation. The reason for that is Kojima tweeted that he was at his editing desk for the first time in a year, which is how long it's been since we got the last proper Death Stranding 2 trailer. This follows a typical Kojima pattern of sharing that he's in the editing process leading up to a trailer of his appearing in a gaming showcase shortly after. My prediction for this is we will finally get a release date, and that release date might be sooner than people think, since it received a rating in South Korea, which usually means a game is only a few months away. My next prediction is God of War Greekmastered Collection, is what I'm going to refer to it as.
I played these games before!
When I originally laid out my predictions, this collection wasn't in the easy prediction tier. There were rumors a year or two ago that the Greek Saga God of War trilogy was being remastered or remade for PS5, but there's always the chance that was just an idea being pitched around that wasn't greenlit. However, the past week there have been a few insiders saying that Kratos was going back to Greece and that we would hear about it soon. Spoilers for Valhalla DLC in God of War Ragnarok. You got 5 seconds. 5, 4. Just click the timestamp, you know? I think the biggest piece of evidence we have for either a remake or remaster of classic God of War are the portions in the Valhalla mode for Ragnarok, where players control the young Kratos and fight enemies from those original games rebuilt for PS5. While remakes and remasters aren't the most exciting game announcements, I'd be here for the renaissance of third-person action games that we could see with the remakes of Ninja Gaiden 2, God of War, and the rumored Devil May Cry remake. Please, Capcom, give it to me. Okay. Those are the easy predictions that I could see happening at this State of Play. Now let's move on to some more interesting ones in terms of likelihood. These next games are announcements I give a lesser chance of happening for one reason or another. They will happen at some point, I'm just not confident they could happen at this State of Play. Next up is Starfield on PS5. It's no surprise after the last few years that Xbox is in the middle of transitioning to a third-party publisher of their games. We don't need to go over the whole history of that transition, but it can be best summed up with Phil Spencer's recent comments saying, "To keep games off of other platforms, that's not a path for us. It doesn't work for us." This means it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when Starfield and other Xbox games appear on PlayStation platforms. The reason I'm not 100% sure about this announcement, or any other Xbox port for that matter, is that so far, the games moving from Xbox exclusivity to PlayStation have been announced via a blog post rather than a gaming showcase. It's entirely possible Xbox puts their games in a PlayStation showcase in the future, but I'm not so sure we're at that point yet. When that starts happening, that will be almost as wild as the day we start seeing Halo on the PlayStation Store page. My next prediction is Until Dawn 2. Of the truly new game announcements that we could expect to see at State of Play, I think Until Dawn 2 is the most likely. It's rumored to be in development at Firesprite, who up until now have been known for PSVR titles like The Persistence and most recently Horizon Call of the Mountain. The biggest reason that I think this game is going to be shown this week is timing. The Until Dawn movie adaptation is releasing this year, and Sony hasn't really been secretive with their strategy to line up new video game remasters or releases in line with a movie or TV show coming out. There was a new Twisted Metal game in development to coincide with the TV series on Peacock, and we can assume that last year's Horizon Zero Dawn remaster was originally supposed to line up with the Netflix series adaptation. However, they did release TLOU Part 1 and are planning to release TLOU Part 2 on PC near their respective seasons of the HBO show. Next up, we have FairGame. Oh boy, this one. I think there is a slight chance that they show something new from Haven Studios' FairGame. I'm hesitant to say this is going to be there for sure because of the fallout that PlayStation suffered from Concord. There is still a chance that we don't ever see this game again the way that PlayStation is axing live service games from their upcoming slate. A part of me feels like if this game does come out, it will get minimal marketing from PlayStation. They probably want to make it seem like they listened to their player base when everyone loudly rejected Concord. I mean, if Spider-Man 2 coming to PC didn't get a marketing push from PlayStation, I don't think FairGame is going to get one. Continuing the live service trend, next up we have Marathon. I think the more likely of these remnants of Sony's live service games to be shown off is Bungie's Marathon. It's been 2 years since this game was announced, so there is definitely a chance we see something new. The question is, what would that be? It's unclear whether Marathon will release in 2025 or if it has been internally pushed to 2026 due to Bungie's recent layoffs and management issues. This is maybe the hardest game to predict what it showing up at State of Play would even look like. There could just be a gameplay trailer by itself. They could also announce beta testing signups for later in the year, or they stay quiet and put something out when the game's closer to launch. I think the most likely option is just showing a gameplay trailer, since the first trailer really only gave us glimpses of the stylistic approach to the game's setting. Finally, I'm going to make some predictions that most likely won't happen, but they'd probably be the more exciting announcements if they did. First up, I have new Xbox ports. What I mean by new port is either we don't already have official confirmation of that game coming to other consoles, or that it's an upcoming Xbox Game Studio title that is being announced for PlayStation. Now take what I said about my doubts for the Starfield port and throw it out the window. There's a very small chance that Xbox just turns everything upside down and PlayStation agrees to announce something like Halo Master Chief Collection, Microsoft Flight Simulator, or maybe even something like Avowed or South of Midnight is coming to PS5 relatively soon. If this happens, I think Avowed is my prediction because it lines up with how Xbox handled announcing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle was coming to PS5. There's also precedent for Obsidian games coming to PS5 already with Grounded and the upcoming Outer Worlds 2, which has been confirmed at launch. While there's no shot Avowed is going to come to PS5 near launch in a week, I don't think a few months gap is outside the realm of possibility. I don't think there's a big chance of this happening, especially since they just announced Forza Horizon 5 with a blog post, which is one of the 3 biggest Xbox franchises, but we can dare to dream. Alright, next is Insomniac's next game. Insomniac has undoubtedly been holding down the PS5 library in terms of first-party output. They put out 3 games, not including a Spider-Man remaster, in 5 years, while several other studios haven't managed to release a single new game for PS5. If they keep that output pace, I think we could be close to Insomniac's next game. Now the caveat to this prediction is whether or not the standalone Venom game is still in development. I could see that being announced and released within a short window, similar to how the studio handled Miles Morales, since they're rumored to be similar in scope. I also have doubts that Wolverine is coming before next year at the earliest, but maybe that's just skepticism on my part since it's already been so long since the announcement and we have yet to see any more official information on the project. The dark horse for Insomniac's next game could be a Resistance Trilogy remaster. I know this wasn't in the leaks of their upcoming projects, but several plans in the leak slate have already changed, like the Spider-Man live service title and Spider-Man 2 DLC being scrapped, if they were ever truly in development to begin with. Alright, next up we have Kingdom Hearts 4. It's been almost 3 years since Kingdom Hearts 4 was announced. Well, it's obviously time we hear something from this game again. This is Kingdom Hearts, so we can expect radio silence for several years between trailers. I would rather open the door to darkness than expect this game at this week's State of Play, but there have been a few surprise announcements at these presentations before, so anything can happen. I'm all about letting your heart be your guiding key, but with Square Enix stepping away from their timed exclusives and close relationship with PlayStation, I could see the next update on Kingdom Hearts 4 coming from their own showcase. Or maybe even shown off at an Xbox event to make good for basically abandoning that platform for several years. That wraps up my predictions for State of Play. If you made it this far in the video, you're the best. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and give me a comment either slamming my predictions or giving your own. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.